I am going to be attempting the most difficult challenge in Baldur's Gate 3. I will be getting the Jack of all trades achievement, which means getting one level in all 12 classes in the game without ever respeccing in a single playthrough. I will be doing this on Tactician, the hardest difficulty in the game, and I'll also not be respeccing any of the companions and picking their default subclasses for every one of them. I will be streaming this whole playthrough right here on the YouTube channel, so get subscribed and hit the notification bell if you want to not miss any of the streams or the uploads for progress on this. And you might be asking yourself, how am I going to accomplish this? Well, that's what this video is. Let's get into it. Let's cover the build here. I'm not going to be doing this in game because actually on my solo playthrough I'm not even level 12 yet, so there's no point because I'm not going to get to show you all 12 levels. So we're just going to talk through it here. A lot of the ideas for this came from another YouTube video, actually another creator. His name is Sawash93. I'll link his video in the description down below. That really helped me spark the ideas of how to do this and what classes to pick in what order, so that was really helpful. Shout out to him and his video. The main thought process here is to go for as many of the full spellcaster levels as early as possible in the leveling process. So the way this game works, same as in D&D 5e, the more levels you have in a full spellcaster, which is only about 6 of the classes in the game I think, the more levels you have in the full spellcasters, the higher your ESL or effective spellcasting level. Let's say you take 6 levels in different spellcasters, that would be the same effective spellcasting level as if you were a 6th level wizard, for example. And that's going to be the main goal here, because that's kind of one of the few things that we can do in this kind of build that will actually scale a little bit as we level up. You know, we're not going to get any scaling, you know, extra attacks, or we're not going to get any more abilities that help us scale our damage. This is going to be one of the few things that actually gets better as we progress. How many spell slots we have, what level spells we know, that kind of thing. So that's the main goal. The other thing is we want quite a high charisma score because, high charisma score and proficiencies in the charisma sort of dialogue skill. Because if we can avoid combat where we can with the charisma skills, that's probably for the best, because we are not going to be as effective, especially in the late game. We're not going to be as effective in combat as a lot of the other builds that you can do in this game. A lot of the enemies are going to be a lot stronger than us. That's just going to be something we're going to have to deal with. So let's get into it. The race we're going to be picking is the Mephistopheles Tiefling. We get fire resistance, which is obviously pretty massive. I think race choice here is a little bit sort of go a couple of different ways. You know, halfling luck is pretty strong. You know, dragonborns also get to pick a resistance, which realistically I think you'd probably pick fire resistance anyway, because fire resistance and fire damage is super common, so fire resistance is kind of important anyway. And if we're picking that anyway, why don't we go for a tiefling where we're also going to get a spell and a cantrip and stuff? So yeah, we could also pick one of the other tieflings as well, but how fun is it to say Mephistopheles? Mephistopheles. Like, that's just fun to say. And I think they look the coolest, so that's why I'm picking them. For background, we are picking Guild Artisan. I'm being very careful through this build to choose particular proficiencies and skill proficiencies, because we're not going to get a lot of opportunities to get more. A lot of classes get more proficiencies when they pick subclass features and stuff like that. Or they pick, in the case of Rogue and Bard, they get more skill proficiencies at certain levels. They just pick them. And I want to pick some very particular ones. Guild Artisan gives us Insight and Persuasion, which are obviously both super useful, especially Persuasion for this build. And that's just going to be, you know, I could pick something like, for example, one of the two that give you Sleight of Hand, which I think Sleight of Hand's cool, right? Really useful for unlocking stuff, but we're just straight up not going to be as good at that as Astarion, for example, who I'm probably going to have in the party. So let's get into ability scores, because this is where this gets a little bit weird, but you're going to have to stick with me here. So we're going 8 strength, 14 dexterity, 16 constitution, 8 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 17 charisma. You might be looking at me like, why are you dumping int? Why are you dumping intelligence? You need intelligence. Trust me, I have a plan. First level, going to be fighter. We're going to pick the defense fighting style for increasing our AC a little bit. We get proficiency in constitution saving throws, which is going to be super helpful for spells later on for maintaining concentration. We get proficiency in heavy armor and shields, which is going to help us boost our AC a little bit more, which is kind of going to be one of our primary goals here, because we're not going to be very strong in combat. So if we can just make ourselves a bit tanky by like skyrocketing our AC as high as possible, that's probably one of the best things we can do. We're going to be using a finesse weapon for the most part, because having 14 dexterity is obviously going to make finesse weapons better than any of the strength-based weapons with 8 strength. That's going to be the name of the game for us up until level 4 is using a finesse weapon and a shield, so like a scimitar, a rapier or something like that. The second level is Sorcerer. We're going to be picking Storm Sorcery for this one. The other ones don't. So you get to pick your subclass at level 1 with Sorcerer, which is super useful, which is why we're getting to pick Storm Sorcery. The other subclasses at level 1, because you have to keep in mind, some of the other ones like Draconic Ancestry, they get quite a lot better as they get higher level. We're not going to get there. We're getting level 1, and that's all we're going to get. At level 1, the ability you get with Storm Sorcery to basically fly as a bonus action after casting a level 1 spell without receiving opportunity attacks is going to be super useful for us. Because if we ever get rushed by enemies, we can cast a level 1 spell and just bounce, like get out of there, because we're probably not going to want to be in the thick of it like that. And the things we get at level 1 for Draconic Ancestry are just clearly not as good as that. So that's what we're getting at level 2. At level 3, we're getting Cleric. We're going to be picking Life Domain here, because this is another class that we get to pick our subclass at level 1, which is super. That's going to let us boost some of our healing spells. We're going to get Cure Wounds and Bless, which we're going to be leaving Shadowheart to be our main blesser, really, because I'm probably going to have her in the party as well. But it is nice to have the better heals, and having more people in your party with Cure Wounds is just more people that can sort of revive people and get some heals out of there. That's level 3. And level 4 is Wizard. Now this is going to be where things really start to open up a bit more, because now we have the ability to learn spells from scrolls and then cast them, and with intelligence being our spellcasting modifier. But Jake, I hear you say, you only have 8 intelligence. This makes no sense. You are correct. It doesn't make no sense. But this is why our first goal in the game, we're gonna go get Karlach, because she's gonna be in the party for sure, and then we're gonna rush to try and get the warped headband of intellect as soon as possible. Hopefully by level 4, which is going to be really hard, because it means we're gonna have to kill that ogre that has the headband. That's gonna be tough at like level 3, level 4. But getting that means that our ability scores will look more like this, which is obviously a lot better, because one thing to keep in mind in this build is we are never going to get an ability score increase with our levels. Not going to get there at any point. So we have to be really efficient with how we use our first ability scores that we get to pick, you know, at level 1. And we have to be really efficient with what items we pick. Items that increase our ability scores, particularly the ones that matter, are going to be super key for us. And being able to dump our intelligence as well as our strength opens up being able to increase our other skills more, or other ability scores more, which is just super useful. And we can get this quite early in the game, the Warped Headband of Intellect. So we're not really going to be missing out on not having intelligence for very long, because 17 intelligence is perfectly respectable. The thing is with this, and this is why I'm kind of open for discussion about it in the comments down below, 17 intelligence isn't too high, and with the Headband of Intellect we actually can't increase it above that. It just sets it to 17. If you're above 17, it will still set it to 17. It'll be fine, I think. I think our main ability is Charisma for speech and stuff like that, and I think 17 intelligence for our spells is gonna be fine. I can't imagine it wouldn't ever go above 17 base anyway. So yeah, this is one of those things where we could do that, but for example, the thought process is if I did the same thing with another skill, right? If I dumped Charisma instead of intelligence, for example, there's not really many items, especially as early on in the game as the Warped Headband of Intellect, that is going to boost our Charisma all up that far. Whereas we are going to be able to get our intelligence from 8 to 17, like, before level 5. Which I think is just going to make our stat block look a lot nicer and a lot more viable going forward if we do that. So, bit of a long expo for that, but that's what I mean. That's why Wizard level 4, that's why dumping intelligence. Let me know in the comments if you've got any better ideas. Level 5 we get Warlock, which of course we're going to get Eldritch Blast and Hex, our main damage dealing combo probably for the rest of the game. Although I do expect that our main damage dealer party members anyway, but for range damage, Eldritch Blast is obviously going to be really good, and we still get the extra beams that we get from leveling up. At 6 we get Bard. We get Bardic Inspiration here, which is nice. There's not really much else here, but Bard is another full caster, so we are trying to get as many casting levels as possible. That's 6, we get Bardic Inspiration, nice to have. We're getting Druid at 7th, not really getting much from this, but we do get more spell slots. So that's all the full casters we have now. We're at effective spellcaster level 6 here. The maximum we can get to, unless this works. So we'll take Paladin at level 8. Allegedly, if you take Paladin here after getting 1 level than all the other spellcasters, this level in Paladin actually counts as another full effective spellcasting level, so we can get the effective spellcaster 7. Hopefully this is true. Hopefully if it is true, it hasn't been patched by the time I get there. And even if it isn't, Paladin is a decent choice at this level anyway. We get some interesting stuff, and we get to pick Oath of Ancients for extra healing options. Hopefully that's true though, because that's really going to help us with the build, getting to spellcaster level 7. Yeah, I can't find any information online about whether this is true or not. But hopefully it is. 9 and 10, we're getting Rogue or Ranger. I don't think it really matters which way around we do this. So Rogue, we get Expertise and 2 skills, which is nice. And if I understand it correctly, please let me know in the comments. Pick Expertise and skills that you don't already have proficiency in, you get the proficiencies. Don't quote me on that, but if that's not true, we're going to be picking, even if it is true, we're probably going to be picking Expertise in things like Persuasion and Deception anyway. I think that's probably fine. Or no, Persuasion and Intimidation, we don't have Deception efficiency. And then Ranger, we get to pick another damage resistance, which is really nice. I don't think it really matters which way around we get it. I'll maybe go Ranger first, just because I think probably Poison resistance is probably more useful than the extra efficiency and extra skills. But we'll see what it's sort of looking like when we get to level 9 and 10. 11th, Barbarian is slightly less useless than Monk, because it gives us more hit points with that big hit die that Barbarians get. So we'll be picking a Barbarian at 11th. And then finally at 12th, Monk. We don't really get nothing useful out of Monk here. So 12th is Monk, and it's the last one we're going to get. That's the build. I have a full Google document that details what items to go for, the goals, like where the list of goals we're going to try and get in the game. But I'm going to keep most of that under wraps for now, so that it can be revealed as we play in the upcoming episodes of the playthrough. As said, if you are excited to see the playthrough, get subscribed so you don't miss any of the streams or the uploads. Also, if anyone has any constructive criticism about this build, please let me know in the comments, because this video is by no means supposed to be this is the best jack of all trades achievement build possible. It's absolutely not. This is just the best way I can think of to muddle my way through what is going to be an absolute mess of a playthrough. So if anybody in the comments has any good ideas about how this build can be better, how it can be improved or anything like that, or even if there's any particular items I should watch out for and try and get, let me know, because it's going to be super useful. I don't profess to be, I've played D&D 5e for a while, I know how it works, I know what to go for, stuff like that, but I'm by no means the mega mind of this situation, so let me know. If there's anything that's super useful, if it ends up changing the build in any way, I'll give you a shout out in the first episode. Editor Jake here. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you liked it. More importantly though, leave a comment down below. I need a character name when I make this character, when I start playing. I thought it'd be a fun idea if you guys in the comments down below tell me what character name you think we should go for. I think that would be quite funny. So the most upvoted one, if we get enough traction on that, if enough people comment and say what character name I should go for, the most upvoted one will be the name that I choose, as long as it's not against any terms of service anywhere. But yes, please do that, that would be great. And other than that, leave a like on the video if you liked it, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.